El verbo gustar. Repaso, review on how to remember how to use the verb gustar, the verb to like. In Spanish, the verb gustar has a different word order, different syntax. So we have the verb, it says here gusta, and what the difference is that it says soccer gives me pleasure. It gives pleasure. This gives me pleasure. So I receive the action. That makes me what we call in grammar an indirect object. In other words, I don't want to get too deep into it. Let's just understand it as you are the indirect object. You're receiving the like, and like is the direct object, right? And what is giving you the like? Soccer. So you're the recipient of a direct object, and that someone who receives an indirect object. Someone who receives a direct object is the indirect object. So we have these pronouns, me, te, le, nos, os, and les, right? And they are going to go in the blanks here. We have to figure out which one do we use. So number one, so the corresponding to me is going to be, right, the corresponding pronoun is going to be me. A ti, the corresponding pronoun is te. A Ramon, he's singular third person, so the corresponding reflexive pronoun for Ramon is going to be le. A Ramon le gusta el fútbol. A nosotros, very logical, it's going to be, right, it's going to be nos, so it's going to go down here, and we're going to put a nosotros nos gusta el fútbol. And then notice the word order is a little different. I want you to get used to it could be, a usted could be at the beginning, right? This could be here. This could be over here in the beginning, but it's not. So it's, so a usted, but still it's the recipient of the pleasure from el fútbol. So a usted is going to be le. So we're going to say le gusta a usted el fútbol. Now listen up real closely on this one. Now remember, what's going to be confusing for you, and you're going to make this mistake for a while, the sooner you understand this, the better, is that it's not like what we're learning. Yo estoy, tú eres, ustedes, yo puedo, yo sé, yo conozco. It's not like that. This is a different thing. It's where the thing that you like is controlling the verb. So el fútbol is singular, so the verb is going to be singular. And that's part of this lesson, is understanding that because el fútbol is singular, the verb is going to be singular. We'll see a little bit more when we get to the next slide. I mentioned the word reflexive. I meant to say indirect object pronoun. So what we like here, what's giving us pleasure, giving all of the different subjects here pleasure, are these yummy looking street tacos. So los tacos are plural. So los tacos, los tacos, los tacos, los tacos. And that is why you're seeing the verb gustar in the plural form. It has nothing to do with the person who likes the tacos. It has to do with the object that is giving you pleasure. Pleasure being the direct object and you the recipient of the indirect object, or he or she. In this case, it's to my dad. The tacos are pleasing to my father, so the answer is going to be what? Me, te, le, nos, os, o les. Think about it. A mi papá, it's to him, so he's third person singular. So it's a mi papá le gustan los tacos. So, look at the next one. Ti is the prepositional equivalent of tu. In other words, after a preposition like a, it's going to be ti. Like the other prepositions we learned, like después de ti, antes de ti, it's not going to be tu. So a ti. So we know it's going to be te. So I want to say, te gustan a ti los tacos. In the real world, we probably won't say that a ti, but it could happen. It's a stylistic thing. It's a little redundant, but we might say it. A ti te gustan los tacos. Te gustan a ti los tacos. you will hear those things, okay? The next one, number 3, right? Number 3. So los tacos are pleasing to the chicos. So they're plural. It's not us, it's not y'all, vosotros. It's going to be les. So our answer is going to be what? Les gustan a los chicos los tacos. Okay? A Yolanda y a mí. To Yolanda and to me, the tacos are pleasing. They give us pleasure. So it's a Yolanda y a mí. If you're going to make a mistake in Spanish 1, these are the kind of things you're going to make some mistakes until it sinks in. We're learning through the process of learning Spanish to improve on paying attention to details. So a Yolanda y a mí, it's going to be nos. So our answer is a Yolanda y a mí nos gustan los tacos. So number 1, a mi papá le gustan los tacos. ¿Te gustan a ti los tacos? ¿Les gustan a los chicos los tacos? A Yolanda y a mí nos gustan los tacos. So we have 2 actions, and one of the things we want to learn is how do we deal with things when it's a verb? The verb is always going to be in the singular form when it involves a verb, or even a series of verbs, as you'll see. So we don't even have to think about it. So another, running, to run, gives pleasure to them. To cook gives pleasure to this guy. So we want to get the correct indirect object, right? The correct indirect object pronoun that corresponds to a él. So as we remembered in the last slide, they're me, te, le, nos, oso, les. Me, te, le, nos, oso, les. And the answer is going to be a él le gusta cocinar. A ellos les gusta correr. The les corresponds to ellos, the le corresponds to él. The verb, the action, controls the other verb, gustar. This slide is to show you that even when we have 3 distinct actions, dormir, viajar, playing video games, sleeping, and traveling, it's still the verb here, gusta, the verb gusta, is still going to be in the singular. It's not going to change. Whenever it's a verb that you like, an action you like, even if it's a bunch of actions, the verb doesn't change. What we do need to do is know what indirect object pronoun we put in the blank. So a mí would be to me. So a mí me gusta jugar videojuegos, dormir y viajar. These 3 activities give me pleasure. And in the real world, we might not need to say a mí. In the classroom, I have to say a mí so I can get the right response out of you. So a mí me gusta jugar videojuegos, dormir y viajar. O I say me gusta jugar, no me gusta a mí jugar videojuegos, dormir y viajar. But let's stick to it at the beginning. Stick to keeping it at the beginning. A mí me gusta jugar videojuegos, dormir y viajar. Videojuegos, dormir y viajar, to travel. Okay, so let's take a test. Look at the model. Example, it says a José blank tocar la guitarra y practicar karate. 2 activities involving a verb. So the conjugation of gustar remains singular and José is third person singular. A José le gusta tocar la guitarra y practicar karate. Número 1, a Ramón, we know the corresponding reflexive pronoun. I shouldn't say reflexive, I mean indirect object pronoun is going to be le. Las enchiladas are plural, so we need to use the plural noun, mind you. So a Ramón le gustan las enchiladas. Número 2, 2 verb actions, studying and reading. Estudiar y leer. Estudiar y leer. So we know a mí, the corresponding indirect object pronoun is me. Verb actions, even more than one, singular form of gustar. Me gusta. A mí me gusta estudiar y leer. A nosotros could be at the beginning, but it came after the blank. We know the corresponding indirect object pronoun is going to be nos. Now, ver la televisión, ver is a verb, so watching TV, it's going to be singular. Nos gusta. Nos gusta a nosotros ver la televisión, o a nosotros nos gusta ver la televisión. A Joaquín y a Eduardo. Two third-person guys, we know the indirect object pronoun is going to be les. What do they like? Sports. Plural noun, so the plural form of gustar. Gustan. A ti, we have to put that in there so we can get you to say te. Now, what is it that we're asking that gives you pleasure? I'm asking a question. Does religion in English class, religion class, I'm supposed to put an e, not the e. There's a rule in Spanish, not that important right now, but if you put this before the letter I or hi, this is supposed to change to e. All right, it's a mistake I still make all the time. A ti las clases de religión e inglés. So it's plural noun, so it's going to be a plural form of gustar. Gustan. Which color? ¿Cuál color? The color is the thing we're talking about. We're not talking about verde y rojo is not the issue. It's the color. Which color gives you pleasure? So it's going to be singular. A singular noun, el color, and then a usted, what's the indirect object pronoun that corresponds to usted? Le. ¿A cuál color le gusta a usted más? Verde o rojo. And finally, number 7, a mí. At this point, we know it's right away. It's going to be me. This we have to look at and go, what are you saying? What's your decision? Is it gusta or gustan? That's always the decision. Is it gusta or gustan? Is it gusta or gustan? And I hope you said it's gustan because you're thinking those are two nouns and those things, art and music, give me pleasure. El arte y la música. A mí me gusta el arte y la música. Pues, número 1, a Ramón le gustan las enchiladas. Número 2, a mí me gusta estudiar y leer. Número 3, nos gusta a nosotros ver la televisión. Número 4, a Joaquín y a Eduardo les gustan los deportes. Número 5, ¿te gustan a ti las clases de religión e inglés? Número 6, ¿cuál color le gusta a usted más? ¿Verde o rojo? Y finalmente, número 7, a mí me gustan el arte y la música. All right, let's do some work in Schoology and see what's stuck.